Charles, you're being recorded.
Uh-oh.
Do you agree to be recorded?
Say nothing that I'll regret. Yes.
Okay. There will be evidence. Not like it was only posting on the World Wide Web. Those are beautiful. So you got to talk to a lot of the makers, and now a lot of them you already know. Was there any that you were like excited to see for the first time?
I met the gentleman from Kanalea Pen Company.
Sounds super Hawaiian.
Really nice. They're out of, I believe they're living in New Jersey right now.
Yeah, but it definitely sounds Hawaiian.
It
Nice box they have that in.
Yeah, it's
like a walnut box.
A walnut box.
Yeah.
Finger joints.
Nice.
But this was
presentation's important, you know.
This was voted Pen of the Year in Pen Magazine, I believe.
Oh wow.
And this has the 18 karat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that.
And please forgive me, I forgot the gentleman's name. He spent 15 minutes polishing that nib.
Oh really?
Just to make sure it was perfect.
I mean, the whole pen looks incredibly polished. Yeah, that you can tell it's gold, just the shine on it. Huh? That is really cool. Really nice.
Oh, and just in the chat, we won't discuss prices because my wife is watching.
Well, these were all gifts, remember? Didn't all the guys give you these pens free? No,
Yes,
no
yeah.
money was spent. Mrs. Stanley, nothing. Charles, you can't laugh. You give it away.
That was.
I think these are about what, $20?
Oh yeah, that was definitely.
Gold nib, you can pick them up for an extra $5.
Yeah, the gold.
This is really nice.
Yeah, that
I love the center band too.
This
Kind of feels Hawaiian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the top is.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, really nicely done. The polish on this blank is crazy.
Mm.
This looks like a polyester,
I'm thinking,
but it sure shines like crazy. Very nice. Give you the box back for that one. Very good stuff. Who do we have next?
well, this one is more of a production pen,
Okay.
and it's made by Platinum, and I like it. Just it's a I can't remember the process name,
Oh,
but it's
cool.
almost like a silk screen. It instead of an individual artist with this pen, this is a group of artists that paint and layer the pens, and you'll see that that is actually gold leaf, and
The whole
what they do
pen?
is the background here.
Oh yeah.
And you can see that they layer it to kind of give you the idea of mountains and clouds, and then they'll paint on the images.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That has
Interesting.
the platinum nib.
Is that your first one of theirs?
No, I've got a different. Well, I have a couple of their.
Charles, your wife is watching. This is the
Yeah,
first one.
Yes.
First pen.
And I got this one, the Tiger. That's her Zodiac.
Oh, very nice, very
So,
nice.
And of course, they gave me the wrong box, but
That's all right.
don't worry about that. Then a whole bunch of others.
Oh yeah.
This is
So
our-
can you tell us about the show a little bit? Like it was pretty busy, right?
It
I know
was
that.
really busy. You have to be patient, and there were makers there, and there were pen repairmen there,
Yeah.
and they had every pen you could think of.
Okay.
Vintage pens that they had completely repaired. A lot of the pens have rubber bladders, and they were used lever or coin system, and they'd completely repaired that, re-shellacked all the pieces to hold it
that's cool.
together. It's
I remember a picture you gave me here. Is she a repair person? Because her
No,
hands
she
look like
is.
yours with the ink on them there.
yeah. She is a nib master already.
A nib master, that's cool.
Young lady, Annabelle Heller, and she makes what they call a harmonic nib.
Okay.
And we'll have to plug in our microscope here
Yeah, we'll do that here in just a minute.
and show her pen.
Okay, we'll
But
come back to that.
this is one of the usual suspects. This is our infamous Jonathan Brooks.
Looks like a Jonathan Brooks
Yeah,
blank.
he's
Yeah.
gone kind of put a little black in it, and made it a little more pastel with the satin finish on it.
Yeah, I like that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
this is specifically for the 2024 Pen Show.
Yeah, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but there's a finial button there that says San Francisco Pen Show 2024.
Yeah,
Very nice.
his stuff is always excellent.
Yeah, always good quality, great finish, nice design.
And top. Everybody wants his blanks.
Yeah,
He is. You know,
that's a good problem to have.
yeah, Leonardo, several of the other
Let me see this
guys.
here, because this little sleeve
yeah.
is cool.
Those are made by Rickshaw.
Yeah, Rickshaw. I always see him
Yeah.
at the. I was actually just talking to Zach Higgins, and he was saying how he wanted to get some Rickshaw pen sleeves made. These are pretty nice.
They are. And Mr. Hines, Jim,
Oh, Jim has them too?
buddy of ours, he's got a
All right,
Rickshaw.
this is Jim's. Jim Hines. And what did he call this pen? This is his new model, the piston filler.
Oh boy.
It has a name, but I don't remember what
Yes.
it is. And it looks like the Juma material here,
Yes, yeah, that is Juma.
the red dragon looking stuff. That's a cool pen. I thought this pen would be a lot bigger, but it's really nice size. It looked a lot bigger in the pictures. And he's got his engraved logo there.
Yep. That's I'm looking up the
And you get a free hug from Jim with every pen purchase, so make sure you collect at the next pen show if anyone is watching.
It's called the Kolben Fuller.
Kolben Fuller?
KOLBENFU with umlauts, LLER.
Okay, I'm going to trust you on that.
Well, it's documented.
Yes. Very cool. Nice looking pen. And again, the little rickshaw bag.
The
Rickshaw's
rickshaw-
killing it.
It's such a nice presentation.
Yeah.
And you know, it's one that you can throw in a briefcase and you don't have to worry about it getting
Getting
crushed.
scratched up or anything. Yeah, very cool.
This was a very unusual. I think this is also no. This is, I think Newton's wife makes this.
Okay.
This was a very unusual pen.
Oh, look at this thing. I'm going to put it right there for a minute. Is this a Newton?
This is a Newton, Sean Newton.
I got you snapped a picture of Sean. Let's show him
He-
off. That's
he is-
Sean working at his table.
He's amazing.
Yeah, Sean
pen
does a lot of
maker.
cool stuff.
And he'll take a Pelican, skin it, and refinish it.
Yeah.
He can refurbish a pen
Yeah.
as well as anybody else.
He does a lot of repairs, and I watch that on YouTube. Or not YouTube, Instagram. So there's one end. We'll just kind of... So is this two different nibs?
Two different nibs.
Ah,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yep.
Very cool. It's like, what would be like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde there, you know? Like you could
Yeah,
have,
exactly.
or a good and evil. You could have like a dark end and a light end, and cool. Cool blank too on this one. It's real
Yeah, those are
sparkly. I don't know what's in that, but pretty
fun.
neat. Very cool. Always good work by Mr. Newton. Yeah, it's cool
It's-
looking just on its own. Like with the caps on, it's really cool with that center. Like you got that like hourglass drop look.
And it's perfectly polished.
Yeah,
I
this thing
hate
is
him.
nice
I
and
hate him
straight.
for that because I'm still working on that one pen.
Yeah, it's incredibly smooth, like a mirror finish. Yeah, very nicely done. Now, hey, if anybody's watching, if you're just joining, we're just going over some pens from the San Francisco Pen Show. We are going to be doing some fountain pen work here in just a little bit, so hang in with us. If you have questions, let us know. Questions for Charles about the show or pens in general or SWAT. We just got back from SWAT, so lots going on. But let's go to the next one here.
Okay. I'll do these two together. These
Okay.
are both
Oh, these
Mr.
are cool.
Krusak.
Ryan Krusak?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, look at the little inlays
Just
of
another
abalone.
amazing talent, and he's an artist. He teaches art. I can't remember. He homeschools his daughter, and he teaches art in part of the collective that helps teach the homeschoolers.
Oh, cool. This is Scrimshaw, it looks like.
It is Scrimshaw. That is a naturally antler that naturally fell in from Montana,
Okay.
and so it's nothing was killed. He's very specific and
Yeah.
wants you to know that.
It's a cool scene of like the old ship.
And on the cap,
I can show it
it's
a little
got the stars
Okay.
that you in abalone that you navigate by.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I see the Big Dipper right there. Oh, that's a really cool tie-in with the ship. Now this thing looks like Honduran rosewood. Maybe?
You're probably right, but I thought it was Amboyna burl.
It might be Amboyna burl. It looks a little darker, but it could be either.
Hopefully he'll
is that
see
a logo
this.
on there?
Somebody will tell us. And
I mean, I think you could probably. They both look similar in this state with the sapwood, but you got all the dark heartwood,
I think you're right.
and then
though.
the sapwood.
Yeah, the Amboyna has more eyes.
Yeah, the Honduran. I mean, this is light, but it looks Honduran, but it could be either one, honestly. But man, what a finish on that! Do you know what that is?
I don't. He didn't tell me that.
It's got to be a resin or some sort of polished.
I was lucky. I
thicker
rode over
finish.
in the shuttle with him.
Okay.
And I'm on the shuttle,
That thing's beautiful.
and he's got CNC machines and all kind of interesting stuff that's coming out. He teased about some new stuff coming out. He wouldn't tell me about it, but
So look at the shine, everybody. You see the light reflecting. There's like no imperfections in there. It's like perfectly finished.
Carrie says, "Ooh, those are pretty, Charles. Thanks for bringing me new pens."
Yeah, right.
Also, a question from Facebook.
Yeah, I didn't mention it, but if you have questions, ask them at any point. Amy's on the chat. Carrie's also on the chat. They'll answer anything that they can help with, and if not, they'll pass it along to Charles, and he'll answer it because he knows everything. He told me. Right?
that's pretty funny.
I thought you said that. No? All right, we have a question. What's the question?
It's for Charles. Charles, how did you get into pen making?
Oh,
I started as a pen collector, and then through my various careers, I became a trim carpenter and had lots of wood, and I got a lathe and started making some of the kit pens with all the extra wood. And then I met Chad, and
the rest is history.
How many years ago was that?
It's been a long time. And I'll tell you, Charles is an excellent pen collector, but he's also an excellent pen maker. CAS pens, I'll put this right next to here. You can't even tell the difference, except for one is slightly brighter colored. But yeah, Charles is an excellent pen maker. So if you have questions on pen making, he's your guy.
That was kind of it. I wanted to make a pen that, actually my goal was to make a pen that went into the pen store at Carmel.
Oh, cool. That's a good goal. I do love the colors you did in this one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one.
Is this Amy's pen or yours?
That's Amy's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my.
She won't like it if it disappears.
We have a question. The burl pen.
Yes.
We have another
Is it
question.
a single start thread to keep the grain aligned?
That's
Yes.
a great question.
Yes.
The question is the burl pen a single start thread to keep the grain aligned? And Charles said yes. And what that means is, if this was a 3-start or even a 4-start, that means this cap could end in 4 different places. But because he wants the cap to end right there every time, it starts and ends in only one place. So that's something you can do if you are making a pen that needs to line up for purposes of grain or pattern, or like this one. It would not look near as cool if it was like this. You know what I mean? It would look
Yes.
like half the burl was here. The way he's got it lined up looks so natural. And did I get that right on the single
Yes.
start?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's meticulous about that.
Yeah.
We have another good question.
We have another good question. Let's hear it.
Question, I'm considering making kitless pens. I've come to find out that the taps and die sizes are custom made for pen makers, from what I understand. Why are standard sizes not used?
So that was a big question. Somebody's interested in pen making, and they said that the sizes are custom made for pen makers, but that's not necessarily true. I mean, maybe the pitch and the, you know, it might be 12.8 is custom made, but 12.1 or 12.1 and a half is common. And do you want to, could you explain a little bit about pitch and what that means?
Yes, the in millimeters, the thread pitch is just the distance between the two peaks or valleys, however you want to measure it. The most expensive taps and dies are because they're triple start, and they're Chad and just a few other people have them. You can get a 1/2 inch tap and die and make an adequate pen. 13 millimeters is not that big a difference from 1/2 inch. So if you want to get started and you want a single start tap, just go out and get a 1/2 inch and tap and die and play with that. You know, the
You could get that at the home store, right? Like you could get a tap and die
yeah.
from Home Depot and make really cool pens.
Yeah, and even the section is 10.1 or 10,
Common, very common.
10.8, and as long as you're threading and tapping, you're good. The only thing you have to have a specialty tap for is for the nib section.
Down
or
inside.
the nib feed. Yeah, so if you're looking at
This little guy right here.
right.
Because that's specific to the manufacturer of the nib.
Exactly. So you've got a Bach 6, Bach 5.
Oh man, look what I did. Shouldn't have touched it.
So yeah, that's the only one that you need to get very specific about. Otherwise, just get one and give it a shot.
Yeah, and I always tell people with custom pens, if you think you want to do it, you know, don't spend $800 on taps and dies and all the gadgets right away. Like, make one with a 1/2 inch from Home Depot, and if you liked it, because it's going to be a challenge, but if it's something you're into, then down the road you might want to invest in triple lead taps and dies, or maybe you don't, I don't know. But like, try it first and see what you think. And you don't have to do, you know, these guys, like this pen here, this guy didn't start making pens yesterday. This has been a long time coming.
Long time.
And all these pens you're seeing here that Charles brought her, these guys have been making stuff for a long time, and most of them started out making kit pens or some variation of that. And it's progressed, and that's just kind of the nature of making.
Right, right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope we answered that question. That was
The other thing is, once you buy the tap and die, unless you're throwing it at people or dropping it
Yeah.
on concrete, they last forever because it doesn't wear out in resin.
Yeah, resin does not hurt those taps
No.
and dies one inkling.
No, and you can even use it in a brass, and it'll perform.
Yeah, that is a nice thing about it. There's a lot of upfront costs, but then it's kind of over with unless you just
Right.
do something silly and damage something.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to touch either of these because I now have ink on my hands. So,
Not like me.
well, maybe I'm safer than you. You have more ink on your hand. All right. Very good questions, people. Uh-oh, I just scratched my ear. Now I'm going to have ink in my ear.
We'll never tell.
Ink ear.
For the 1/2 inch less costly, what pitch would you suggest?
That's a good question. So if you're going to try 1/2 inch to do less cost, probably you're not going to have a lot of choices, right?
There'd
So-
probably be a couple choices.
Yeah.
I'd go with a coarse thread. That way
Yeah.
you wouldn't have, you're not screwing it on 12 times to get it done.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're probably not going to get a lot of choices, so I'd just take whatever you got. Now, keep in mind, if you're going to need mandrels and stuff, you're going to have to make them, but you have the tap and die, so you can make anything you need. So that makes it kind of nice. Did you have another one?
I have 2 more.
2 more? Let's see them. I thought we were
right.
done. That's cool.
No, this one, and this is the one we need to plug in our microscope so I
Okay.
can show it.
Yes.
This is an amazing pen. It's made,
Oh, it's heavy.
yeah, it's
What is it made of?
metal, aluminum, I believe.
It's very heavy. Like,
Cuseido, K-U or K-Y-U-S-E-I-D-O. And it has a custom nib made by a jeweler,
oh, no
which
way.
is Annabelle,
Okay.
the picture of Inky. She goes by
Ah.
Inky Fingers.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at that up close. I'll
But
put it
this-
back in here.
Is that on?
You want to?
This
wanna
is-
look in the
well, let's
microscope?
look at this first.
Okay.
This one, where's our feed? Can
Yeah,
you see
you're
me?
right over. Yep.
Okay. This one has a regular piston system, but you unscrew it this way,
Oh, look at.
and it doesn't have the plunger all the way down.
Yeah.
So once you get that, you come up here and retrieve the plunger and
Come on, that is too cool.
unscrew that, because that screws in.
No way.
Yeah, this is high tech.
That's next level. And then now the
then
plunger moves.
Now you can fill your pen, and once you get it filled,
You put the plunger back.
put the plunger back in,
That is too cool.
and this literally seals and back down like so.
Who thought of that? That is too cool.
It's an amazing pen. And then
Oh, we're gonna show you the nib here up close. All right, let's go to that camera. There we go.
this is a hand-hammered, layered.
Wow,
That's white gold, but that's a handmade nib.
that is
It's
too
a
cool.
modified stub, I believe. You can see she's just so talented.
Very cool.
But I was so impressed.
That's
by
really neat looking.
that work.
Looks like a forged nib.
Exactly what it is.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, while you put that one away, I got to ask a question. I see Michael McEwen is in the chat. Hey, we got your sticker. Thank you for that, Michael. What does Mr. Gold mean? Because I saw that on. It said Mr. Gold, right, Amy?
Yeah.
It said Mr. Gold on you. Are you a gold hunter, Michael? If so, I need to know about this. Sorry, that's all.
No, that's fine.
Saw him in the chat.
This is also called Opus Cineris.
Cineris. Very cool.
She said it, but there are so many things that I saw.
And we were talking about presentation, like what a nice card to get
Yep.
with your pen. I have something similar, but like the model, the material, the housing, this is really nicely done. Little seal, like wax seal. Very cool. All right. Was that the last one or one more?
I can keep going. There's actually 2 more, but this is the last one. That
I'm
I'll
gonna put this right here again.
This is from Shun Design.
Oh yeah,
Gentleman, and you've got a picture of him.
I've
It's
seen
the-
him on Instagram.
Mhm.
Which one was he?
Jake Thompson says Michael loves gold.
Solid gold. Maybe I don't have his picture. I'm sorry. I don't think I do.
Okay, well,
Now, he does the finish, right? Or does he manufacture too?
he manufactures, that's a CNC, he does everything.
Okay.
Plus, he does the nib.
Oh,
That's
really?
called a Monarch titanium nib. That's
Wow.
made out of a solid piece of titanium.
That is really cool. The pen is really like nice weight and everything. Have you written with this one yet?
I haven't inked
Too
any of
many
these.
nibs, not enough time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a unique nib. The whole nib wraps around because it's all machined out of one piece.
Yeah, can we
That's
throw
really
that
cool.
to the
Yeah, let's put
microscope?
that under the scope here so people can see it.
So you
Oh,
can
yeah.
see.
He even has the little star engraving. So he must make the feed and everything because it's his his
He
design.
makes the whole thing.
Yeah.
Look how detailed. That's like a reverse.
Yeah, you're seeing a really
Architect.
magnified picture here. Like you can see the dust on it and the fingerprints. Yeah, really nice work.
Just
Shone, right? Schon, something like that. Shone.
SCHON.
Schon.
Design.
Design.
That's,
Really
that's
cool.
His website. So, and the you notice when you put the cap on, there's an O-ring keeps everything sealed up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like very precision. All right, well, while Charles does that, I wanted to show these. When I was in SWAT, people were asking me about my case because I carry this leather case. These are the ones I took to SWAT. Just some unique ones, I guess. But we have these leather cases here at Turner's. They're on sale this week, 20% off. And they come in 3, 6, or 12. And they're really nice. I think they look better, like mine, once they're weathered. What do you think?
I do too.
I mean, the new one looks too fancy. Mine's been in my backpack 100 times. Plus, I engraved it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the engraving?
Yeah,
Laid life.
it's nice.
But I like them when they're weathered. But don't worry, they'll weather. So those are in there.
And
I
these
think you had asked about these one time.
No, I have 2 of those.
Oh, you do?
and,
Okay.
When I go to shows, I'll probably get 2 or 3 more because
That's
people
what I was
really
telling
like 'em.
Amy. I was saying I would just carry my pens to the shows in those if I was going to go. So why not?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Charles, for showing off your goods. I know that's just the tip of the iceberg, but would you recommend like a pen maker go to a pen show if there's one nearby?
Absolutely.
How come?
Because it shows you the whole universe of pens.
Yeah.
That's the thing is we get stuck on our lathe, and the shop is our world after a while.
That's all we want.
And then it helps bring some fresh ideas, and
Yeah.
you get to talk to people, and they also help with your enthusiasm.
Yeah. I always noticed that. Like when we came back from SWAT, I was like, I need to go to the shop and turn something because like you're around turning the whole weekend or pens the whole weekend, and then
Right.
all you want to do is go make a pen. You know?
Yeah.
Did you come home and make a pen?
No, but I have 3 of them ready to be made.
There you go.
They're tubed.
I think I was saying, like, who did you get to talk to that was kind of special this time? Anybody stick out in your mind? Or did you already answer that?
Oh, I didn't.
Had
show-
you met everyone before?
I had not. I did meet the gentleman
Maybe you want to hand him that paper? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, from Nico Ebonite.
Oh,
And
yeah.
He was very interesting, very, very quiet gentleman.
Yeah.
But this was a different type of Nico Ebonite than I'd ever seen before.
And Nico is from Japan?
Nico is, yes, he's based in Tokyo.
Oh, look at that. I've never seen that pen before.
Yeah, that's a brand new.
Hold on, I gotta look this up.
People are
Wow.
just saying thanks for sharing your pen.
That's a really cool pattern. I hope that shows on the camera. It's got, Ebonite normally has like lines that are built into it, but this has more like specks and lines. It almost looks like a micarta or a Damascus.
Yeah, it's just so unusual.
And
then
it
he
says EBOYA,
Eboya.
Eboya.
That's his pen company.
made in Tokyo, engraved in there, real subtle. Oh, actually, I think you might have been able to see it on the camera, but very cool design. And this is like the bamboo style.
Yep.
That's really neat. You know, and you look at all these and they're just perfectly finished. Like there's not a dud in the bunch where there's scratches. Like they're all finished so well. Very professional quality on all these. Are we still getting glitches, or have we settled down a little bit? Still glitching?
We have requests for Charles to talk a little louder.
Oh,
Okay.
Also,
Oh, you know what? Your mic fell. That's probably why.
sorry. People are just saying thanks because the show off of the pens is really cool.
It is really cool to see these. Charles and I talked about going to San Francisco, and then I had to go to SWAT, and he left without me.
Yeah, well,
So, but we do want to go to Japan still. So Charles and Chad go to Japan, I think, is a great title.
that would be an
potential
interesting
video.
show.
That would be, it'd be real interesting.
We can't tell everybody we're YouTubers there.
No, I wonder how they work over there. They into
Well,
YouTube?
they've had some problems with YouTubers over there, especially foreign YouTubers.
Yeah, they don't respect. Like
Yeah.
they're real into respect and things,
Yes.
and
It's-
Americans might not be the best at learning respect in a new culture. Amy, other questions?
No, but Michael McEwen, it was super funny. The chat blew up. They're like, he loves gold. And it's
Solid
only
gold.
because on Saturday morning cartoons, he always chooses gold as his.
Oh,
But then he did say, he said that he takes his grandson sometimes to go panning.
I was hoping he was a gold miner and I'd have to go visit him
I mean,
and
he
do
takes
some
his
gold mining.
grandson to go panning, so
Yeah. All right, so let's switch a little bit of the topic here to fountain pens. Oh wait, that was the topic. What we're going to do though is give you a little zoomy. Charles has a little scope here that he uses to work on stuff, and he's got a couple of pens that one Amy brought in and one he had, and we just want to kind of show you what you're looking at. Now, looking at this with the naked eye, I could barely see any kind of bend.
yeah.
And when you look at it under the scope, it's kind of crazy how bad it is. I mean, I can see it, but it's not like, it doesn't look near as bad. And once you put it under that scope, it's mind-blowing. So last time Charles recommended getting like a jeweler's loop,
Yes.
and that's probably what most people need. But yeah, can you walk us through what you could do with this?
Well, this one came off a pen that the feed broke, and I twisted the nib terribly.
Okay.
But it's basically just realigning the tines, and
So is that end, that little spot of solder or whatever it is that solid, or is that cut when they cut the relief there?
it is welded onto the tip of the nib,
Okay.
and then it's all cut at the same time.
It is all cut at the same
Yeah.
time. Okay, that's what I was wondering about. And does it matter if it's a different brand like Bach or Yowo as far as how they operate?
All pens are a the nib is basically a piece of metal with a slit in it, and you've got the feed, and you work with capillary action, and then you try to make that, if I can get that in focus,
There you
slit
go.
to where it goes from wide at the hole, the breather hole,
Yeah.
to a little narrower. Now this is because I'm twisting these tines back and forth, is way too tight.
It's touching, right?
Yeah, it should probably be 10 to 15 thousandths of an inch
Mm-hmm.
apart. It doesn't touch at the tip, but it's not a very wide.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of room to work there.
And the thing about this is, I don't have a feed with this one today, and I'll show Amy's in just a minute, but you just try to,
You're just trying to bend it to where it gets back in alignment.
yeah, a little bit at a time, and it just over and over again.
They are quite flexible.
They are, and they have a lot of memory, so they want to go back to where they got bent.
Yeah.
And you can see how they're rubbing against each other.
Yeah, I can hear it when you do that. I can
Yeah.
hear the little tap of the pieces snapping. So once you get it aligned, then you have to work on the gap, the separation,
Yep.
which is a whole nother thing. And going back to shows, where Charles was saying about shows, there's how many nib masters were at that show?
I would guess there were 10 10 nib masters, but almost everyone that was a maker was also very knowledgeable about nibs.
So even if you didn't have a nib master, you'll probably learn about nibs and maintenance just by chatting and talking to people. And then as a maker, you tend to start to learn this stuff and keep working on them.
Right.
Yeah. But you can actually have a pen worked on there too, right?
Yes, and there are companies, the Nib Smith, there's the Nib Taylor, Richard.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember. He is the one that taught all these people.
Yeah, he's like the granddaddy of all nibs.
He's
He's the one who said that a fountain pen is a controlled spill.
a controlled leak.
A controlled
Yes.
leak,
Mhm.
yeah. That's a
Yep.
perfect analogy.
Yep, that's exactly.
Controlled leak. Yes, Amy?
Nothing.
You look surprised.
Oh, no.
Oh, let me go back to your overhead here. Yeah, so Charles is adjusting this nib, and it's a little bit of a process, but this way you guys can kind of see how it works. This is just step one, is kind of getting it back into place, right? Like
Yep.
kind of making it work. And it's a little bit of a time-consuming process. I'm guessing if you hurry on this, it's not going to come out well.
You're going to overbend it, and what will happen is you bend it too much, and I'll show Amy's nib, and you'll bend it away from the feed. You have to have the
Oh, yeah.
nib resting on the feed, and if I bend that up too much, then I'm going to bend it away from the feed, and
Will that
creates
cause
a-
non-writing or
creates another problem.
heavy writing?
You'll probably have a lot of ink blotting and spills.
Okay. Ink blotting and spills. Very cool.
Mark in the chat a little bit ago said that he has a bunch of old fountain pen ink from my folks' jewelry store,
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
including some World War II victory ink.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
that's cool. I don't know what that means exactly, but it sounds awesome. Like, I personally love old fountain pen stuff. I have a whole pile of old ones that I need to fix. I'm sure you do too. And I never seem to get around because I always want to make something new. I didn't mention, but Amy and I will be in Ohio/West Virginia next week
Cool.
for the Mid-Ohio Valley Pen Turners Gathering, MOVPTG.
That's right.
Pen Turning Gathering. MOVPTG. You've been to that one before, right?
I haven't.
Oh, no.
Jason wanted me to go
Yeah.
on the first one, and I just,
And then COVID.
yeah.
But yeah, it's the first one I've been to for, I think, 2 or 3 years. So Amy and I'll be there. I'm going to do a watch part blank demo.
Oh,
so
excellent.
if you're in the area to where you can go to that and you want to, it's a excellent opportunity to see great demos. It's pen making specific. We'll have a couple of things there for sale, but not a whole lot because we have to fly and it's kind of short notice for us. But a lot of people will have blanks and kits and other stuff there. So if you're nearby, check it out. And there is a website, movptg.com. Back to you, Charles.
Yeah, and you can find it also. He's doing a lot of conversations on Facebook.
Yes, look on Facebook. Now, what are you doing here with this metal?
This is, I'm kind of flossing it, seeing if I can get the space a little better.
Yeah.
You can see how I push it down and it clicks. So that
So
means it's
this is-
overlapping.
This is shim stock, right? And this is a pack we have in the store from K&S Metals, number 258 brass shim. It comes in .001, .002, .003, and .005. Whoops, sorry. Thought I was in there. But Charles is using the .002, right?
Right.
Correct, at this time. The 1 is nice and thin. Once you get to 3 and 5, oddly enough, I don't know how thick that is in reference to like a hair, but it doesn't feel like anything. But once you get to 3 and 5, it's a little heavy. So the 002 seems to be the perfect fit for what he's working on right now. So if you're looking for that kind of thing to tune your pens, that's the thickness he's using.
And you can see how long I've been working on this, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't want to move.
It seems like it's very stuck in
little
its
bit.
position. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there it's coming back a little bit.
What pen is that?
This is one he brought.
You guys are converting people. Darren says, I have to thank Chad and Charles for the last video. Chad mentioned, don't just make, be a part of it. And I went down the fountain pen rabbit hole of learning, and I've since switched to using fountain pens daily.
Well, I am sorry, Darren. That's an excellent comment, but I'm sorry for your bank account because fountain pens can be a little pricey. Although if you're making them, they're much better. But no, seriously, Darren, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's totally true. Like, can you imagine knowing what you know now, can you imagine making fountain pens and not knowing how to tune them or how they work at all?
No.
It just wouldn't make you a good seller.
No.
And there is some of that like street cred of like, you know, an outsider who comes in and makes some quick kit pens and pushes them as fountain pens, and technically they are, but they don't even know how to load the ink. I mean, be part of the world. But so thanks, Darren. That's an awesome comment, and I'm glad you're liking it. And also, actually, it is kind of fun and cool, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's really cool. And now we've got it kind of where we want it.
Get back here. Oh, look at that. That is great.
And I've
What a
got-
difference.
Got space.
So now you're going to floss it.
Just make sure.
See if you can show it there. So what he's doing is putting that .002 brass between there. And I saw that it kind of imprinted on the brass.
Mhm.
Do you want to like do it till it doesn't push so you know it's gapped?
No, the 2, I'm probably wanting it at
A little bit.
1.15.
Okay.
So that's fine.
A little bit of pressure.
Yeah, and the brass is especially this thin,
Yeah.
and you can test. You can
Okay, let me
feel
try it
how
here. I'm gonna
it's
see.
not a ton of drag on it.
Let's see what I can do. So I'm just going to put it in the breather hole.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Actually, when I was watching, let me put my glasses on. When I was watching you do it, it looked like it was really pinching on it.
Mm-hmm.
But doing it myself here, yeah, so if you can see it's coming through the nib. Yeah, that actually feels pretty good.
Now you can do this with the feed on.
Okay.
And when I didn't bring the feed in the pen that I was working on, but that's what I would do at this point is put it back in the feed and start tuning it because it's pretty darn good.
That looks really good compared to when you started. It was kind of ugly.
It was very ugly.
Yeah, it didn't line up well.
No. And then I think Amy's pen is pretty good.
So Amy has a pen here that, what's the story, Amy? You loaded this pen with ink and right away it just wouldn't write.
Which one is it? Because I handed
The
Charles
the
two.
blue one.
The blue.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't write.
So this was a brand new nib, and right away it wouldn't write. And if you look at it under the magnifying glass,
It's better than it was, but it's still not.
yeah. So
not-
Charles did work on this one a little bit, but it was really tweaked right out of the bag.
Yeah.
And it was so tweaked, and this is good to point out. Charles said, "Hey, I think you might have made the cap a little too short, and it hit the nib," which is very valid because I've done that a time or two.
We've all done it.
I just want to make a shorter cap, and it crunches the nib.
Yeah, it's too long. I don't like the look, and
Yeah.
we get to start all over again.
Oh, do you think that's what's happening?
Well,
Cap it?
we thought that, but we checked it,
Yeah, I
and the cap has got a good probably 8 mil extra, so it's not hitting the cap. But that was a good thing to check. So Charles was right to look at that, because if you're hitting the cap, Charles, let me ask you this question: if you're hitting the nib inside the cap and you fix the nib, how many times are you going to fix the nib?
Every time you close the cap.
Every time you close the cap.
Every time.
And if you've made a fountain pen and you put your cap on and you take it out and the nib has, instead of this, it looks like this, you
Yeah.
know what happened. And then that becomes your shop nib, typically,
Mm-hmm.
that you test everything on. Oh yeah, that looks so much better.
We're getting real laggy again.
Oh, sorry folks, we are getting a little laggy in the delay here.
Wonder if
We're not
the
sure if it's,
microscope does that.
No, it wouldn't have anything to do. It's the internet, I'm assuming. We're gonna have to look into like some broadband, high speed something, because we just get lagged up. So Charles, I see you making those motions. Why do people make the S motion when they're testing a fountain pen?
Well, when you're testing the pen,
Yep.
you want to make the motion that, well, you can go through the whole alphabet,
Like this.
or you can do that.
Hey, that feels pretty nice.
Yeah, I smoothed that out to about 12,000.
Ooh, Amy's gonna love this. Do a little autograph here.
She would like it better if I hadn't lost her cartridge.
I don't like to use cartridges, but I was like, I should probably use a cartridge. And then I was like, this cartridge is not great.
So Charles, you
Well,
mentioned
I lost it for you.
you smoothed it out to 12,000. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. When you get your pen, I took a little class, and they recommend that the first thing you do when you get a pen is flush it.
Okay.
Just, there is metal debris and packing stuff and all kind of things that can clog up the pen.
Okay. I'm just gonna adjust this while you do that.
Okay. So flush it out, and you can use a bulb syringe like that one.
Okay.
Most people think of that as a child's snot getter.
Oh.
Or you can
Hold
use a...
I had to make Charles laugh. Serious business here, pens.
Or
Hey, we have a good time doing it. Hey, Jake's here.
Schoen Design
Oh,
has
yep.
made these syringes, and this one fits exactly on a number 6
Oh,
Yovo.
That is awesome.
And if you go to his website, and maybe we can make him or convince him to make some for us.
Yeah.
This, you just flush it back and forth,
you can-
pull the water through, and push it right out. And
Yeah, because
that-
otherwise you can't really force it through.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I like this, because it kind of fits
Mm-hmm.
everything. Because it's so flexible.
Everything?
Pens.
Okay.
I was not going there.
I meant pens, like every pen.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, that
Unless
syringe,
you have a size 12.
that syringe is so much better because otherwise you're just kind of like rinsing off the outside. You don't get
Right.
the, and there's all, dust and manufacturing debris.
Right.
Yeah.
Learn about your pen, take it apart, rinse it out.
Yeah. So you were saying the 12,000. We can
Oh,
do
yeah.
that right here.
The
Right where this pen is would be perfect. There you go. That looks like micro mesh.
It is micro mesh. There was a gentleman there that was teaching classes, and that's exactly what he uses is micro mesh.
Okay.
He starts as low as 2,500
Okay.
and finishes about 12,000. You can go higher than that. They're can't remember. It's a white and green mylar paper. Sorry.
So you're actually taking the nib onto the micro mesh here.
Yes, and do exactly the type of motion.
Just
that
kind of
you're
rocking
doing.
back and forth.
Right, and you can do the figure eights.
Oh, this one has ink.
Oh, that's good. You want to ink it or have water.
Oh, you do?
Don't do it dry.
Oh.
Because what will happen is you will get that dust, that debris from the metal. It will clog up your pen.
That makes sense. That's a
You-
good tip.
Yeah, you want to have it lubricated so that you're getting a smooth flow.
Okay.
I can't remember what
Yeah,
this
because it
paper's
seems like a
called.
lot of trouble with fountain pens is debris and dust.
It is.
That's,
yeah.
built up in there.
Right.
Now, what if I'm writing? So one time I was writing with a pen and I was getting little tiny curly cues of paper. Like I was feeling the scratch.
That usually means that the tines are misaligned.
Okay, that would make sense.
Now, the other thing is you want to take, when you're tuning your pen, and take some of the Mylar or a 12,000 single sheet of paper and just kind of drag it between the tines to knock that sharp edge off the inside of the tine.
Okay.
That'll help with the smoothness. The problem is you can do that just a couple of times and it creates what they call baby's bottom. And baby's bottom is where you have two round parts instead of one smooth connecting round part.
Okay.
And when you have that, the nib is not touching the paper and it's not creating a good flow.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because you'd almost be like operating like two separate pieces.
That's exactly right.
Okay, that makes sense.
The other thing is you can smooth that to infinity, but the smoother it gets, the less ink is going to be drawn through capillary action to the actual nib. You need scratches in the metal, microscopic it might be, to have ink flow. It has to have something to pull it in. And
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
never
know
think
that.
about stuff like
Yeah.
that. Very
Yeah,
cool.
so you can get and polish it.
Yeah. Yes, Amy, we have a couple questions.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, Amy's laughing at the
I'm
questions.
laughing. No, Mark said you think it's funny, but it's not. It's just funny.
Too good, Mark.
By tuning it on the pen, does that mean you keep shimming the nib by pressing the brass sheet while still on the pen and loaded with ink, or remove the nib and clean and start over?
So the question was, by tuning the pen with the nib on the pen, do you still shim it? And do you leave ink in it, or do you want no ink?
Okay.
I think that was the question.
Yeah, the question of taking the nib off the pen to do the work or leaving it on is how much you have to do. If
Okay.
it's really damaged, you might have to take the nib off. I would leave the nib on because it doesn't matter how much tuning you do with the nib by itself, you're going to put that nib and feed back together, and you're going to have to tune it again because you got all that pressure putting it all together.
Oh, that makes sense.
So if it's just a minor thing, then leave it on the pen. Now, if you're doing the flossing, and just a side note, I said, I believe last time that a lot of people do the paper bag. I was told by an authority at the pen show, don't do that
Okay.
because it just picks up fibers everywhere.
Because the paper bags.
Yeah, the paper bag is
Porous.
fibers.
Yeah,
and
that
it
makes
just,
sense. They are.
Yeah, it just picks them up, and it doesn't. I mean, it'll grind down the pen, but it doesn't help the flow. If you're going to do the flossing, try to do it from the underneath and pull it out
Okay.
like so. There is a groove on the top of the feed, and if you repeatedly use that brass, you're actually going to make that groove a little deeper.
Okay.
And so I was cautioned against doing that very much.
So you would actually change the way it flows.
Yeah, exactly. So you might make it a little wetter than it started.
Okay. Well, I have a question for you, Charles.
Okay.
Because you've made a lot of good fountain pens and a lot of kit pens. If you were going to start, like with, say, a Junior George fountain, which comes with a great nib, out of the bag, aside from making the pen, what would you do to the nib? Anything at all, or would you clean it?
If you're selling the pens, clean it, take a look at it with your loop, and if it's not bad,
Dip test?
yeah, dip test. When I sell a fountain pen to anyone, I have them test it.
Okay.
And so I'll watch them write, and I'll tune it a little bit to them. And you can see, are we above?
Yep.
You can see that I think Chad and I both tend to turn our pen a little bit like this.
Yeah, we must.
The perfect fountain pen writing is like this.
Okay.
That's where both the tines are equal pressure. This tends to skew the left tine a little higher than the right, so you might get a little scratchiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different tune. But everybody has a slightly different. I haven't figured out left-hand tuning yet, though.
Yeah, that's a whole nother animal. That's for sure. Yes, we have another question, Amy. Go ahead.
Yes, Bill asked, what pen shows do you go to sell your products? And also,
What pen shows do you go to sell your products? Now, in addition to Bill's question, what pen shows, do you always have to go to pen shows, Charles?
No, we both have websites.
Websites, and we also do art shows,
Yes.
so that's a good thing.
Yeah. I have not sold pens at the big pen shows
Yeah.
yet.
Well, and at a pen show, you're surrounded by pens.
Yes.
So you're, a fish in a barrel, whereas at an art show, yes, you're not going to have near as many pen people there, but you're maybe one of a couple pen people.
Mhm.
So if you're good, you're going to look real good.
Yep.
But they both can be very good, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all, most of the people there are making a living.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. And another question, Amy?
Oh, I was just going to say that Charles' website is linked in the description of the video.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
Charles's website is linked in the description. Yeah, so if you're doing art shows and pen shows with fountain pens, you're probably making a little higher end product, hopefully, and a little more care and a little more detail, I would think. I know that I always, for some reason, just in my brain, pay more attention to my fountain pen stuff to make sure it's perfect, because I know fountain pen people are very specific with what they like.
And they'll come up and ask you what nibs you have.
Yeah, yeah.
And what grinds you have. And I'm going, it's going to be a ball.
Yeah, well, and if you can answer those questions, you've got credibility right
Right.
away, because a lot of people that just make one and throw it up don't know.
Yeah.
Good questions, people. But do any show you can would be my advice.
Yes, definitely.
Because you need to get shows under your belt, and you need to learn how to talk to people and answer questions. And every show you get a question you've never heard before, and you're better for it.
Yeah, and the smaller the show, lower your expectation on the number
Yeah.
of fountain pen people.
Yeah, you might
you're
not
gonna
need
see.
100 fountain pens at a little tiny market in the neighborhood, but you might have one or two.
And I did a little show at a retirement center in Scottsdale. I sold more fountain pens. Now, they were kit pens at the time, but I sold more fountain pens than anything else. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've said this before. I make kit pens, I make custom pens, I make whatever. I don't have any problem with kit pens. Some people do. Do what makes you happy,
There's-
I always tell people the kit pens, you're getting a huge advantage in the manufacturing, because none of us can afford those crazy machines that make those kit pens. So that's why they're affordable. If they were made by hand, they would all be, $100 a kit. But those CNC machines they have are phenomenal. So
Yeah.
take advantage of the kit pens, have some kit pens, have some custom pens, have a nice mix, and it helps blend your costs. It's not all custom and all time consuming. It's a little bit of a mix, and I think it's a good thing.
Well, and there are materials that you can use with kit pens that there's no way it's very difficult to make a
Yeah.
custom or a bespoke pen out of.
Yeah, it's challenging. Very good. Amy, any other questions today? I like your guys' questions. These were good.
Yeah.
Hopefully this gives everybody a little insight into, not only the show scene. Check out these custom makers. Everyone Charles mentioned is really great. And of course there's more. It's not like he left people out on purpose. It's just a matter of time. And,
Yeah,
he can only fit so many in his suitcase. So
that's right.
it was a tight fit on the way home.
Kim said, did I miss the meaning of nib grind? If so, I will rewatch.
The meaning of nib grind. Charles, what is a nib grind?
A nib grind is making the nib a different shape than it started.
Okay.
And we didn't cover that at all today.
Yeah, we're not really set up for that.
No, nib grinding is very specialized. You can do italics, you can do all these different stubs and things. If the guy hasn't done for 5, 10, 15 years, I would probably move on to the next nib meister.
Well, I was going to say, you probably shouldn't go grinding on your nibs unless you're trained by someone,
No, yes.
right?
yeah.
I mean, this isn't something you want to kind of self-teach yourself because there's a lot to it, and there's not a lot to that nib.
No, you can take that tipping off.
My
in-
TW90 would take that tip off in a split second.
Yeah.
How would someone nib grind?
Well, if
Well, if they want to learn.
If you want to do an italics, or you want to do a, what is the other? There are some specialized nib grinds that a sailor and pilot do. There's a naginata pin grind. There's layered pin nibs, and they create a different line pattern. So some of them have a thin line going up and down and a thick line going sideways, and some are the opposite.
And if you knew what you're doing, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really good. But you watch on YouTube all these nib grinders, and you look at the results of the difference between their two strokes, and you're going, that's not worth the price of my nib.
Yeah.
And if you're going to try nib grinding, buy a whole bunch of just cheap $2
Yeah, because you're going to
nibs.
burn through them.
And the other thing is, get bold or medium nibs at the smallest. Do not start with a fine, because you'll grind through that quickly.
Yeah, there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, somebody said like calligraphy, and it's not necessarily calligraphy, but it's that going towards that, so to speak.
Yeah,
it's for that style.
Yeah, and most calligraphers use a stub nib, and you can use a left slant or a right slant.
They have really cool different
Yeah.
different ones. Yeah, and a lot of people do think a fountain pen is a calligraphy pen, and it's not.
They do.
But it is a brother, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And people who can write in those cool fashions are, I mean, they're phenomenal. Very cool, very cool. All right, well, how did it work? Anybody who's still watching on Facebook, give us some feedback on quality of the video, audio, because this is our first time. YouTube, thanks everyone for joining. Charles, thanks again. Is there
Thank you.
anything that I didn't let you say before we go? Did I
No,
miss
don't-
anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't get to use my water, but
Oh yeah, we got a cup of water. Well, thanks for joining us again. We'll probably have Charles back again if you guys like this. If you guys share this and give it a bunch of thumbs up, we'll have Charles back again. Let's put the pressure on them. But CAS Pens on Instagram, CAS Pens, caspens.com, or just cas.com? CAS Pens.
caspens.com.
caspens.com.
It's CAS _ on Instagram.
You can tell I have the shirt,
Yep.
CAS Pens.
Now I wore the white one because we were using ink today.
I was going to say, you wore white on an ink day. Yeah, thanks again. This is awesome. And I really love seeing those pens. I mean,
Yeah, they're fun.
whatever that is, Honduran or Amboina is amazing. And
Yeah.
then that
I'll have to.
Urushi is killer stuff. So just a quick shout out to those that you mentioned. It was, I can't say. most of
Conalea?
these. Conalea. You had Brooks. You had BFD, Brute Force Design. Heinz pens. You had a Newton in there, Newton pens. Crusac pens, which is the Scrimshaw wood. Tamanuri.
And then
If anyone's interested in Urishi, how am I saying this? Urushi. Check him out on YouTube. His videos are really cool. And he tells you a lot. He shows you how to do it.
Yes.
Now, it's not as easy as he makes it look, and it takes a long time, because I've tried. But he does a really good job of explaining. I haven't seen a video for a while from him, though.
He moved from, I believe he was in Poland. He moved to France.
Oh.
So he's got a big shop
And he came all
now.
the way to San Fran?
He went all the way to San Fran,
Wow.
24 hours.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's crazy. But lots of stuff going. There is like the 20% off cases this week, and then we did do fountain pen. It's fountain pen week. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we made it up, but it's fountain pen week.
We need to.
So fountain pen kits are on sale. The cases are on sale. Yeah. So check out Turner's Warehouse. Plug. Amy, anything else? What'd I miss? MOVPTG next weekend in Ohio/West Virginia. It's right on the border. I think technically it's in West Virginia, but we're in Ohio, and then we drive across the street. What's up, Amy?
I was just gonna say, everybody, like, awesome stream. The quality of the glitching was not great, but
Yeah.
good content. We do have fountain pens and stuff on sale.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks, Charles. Thanks again, and we'll do this probably again.
Excellent.
Yeah, you're getting great comments. So, hey, you guys, go follow Charles on Instagram and give him a shout out for sharing everything. It's pretty cool. All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Can you end with a word of wisdom?
Whew. Get the Shop Dog sticker.
Shop Dog sticker. Yes, we do have a new Shop Dog sticker, and I'm going to get Charles one. All right. Well, thanks, Charles.
Thank you.
And we will end this stream. I will click on the end button.